All right, all right. Let's clap it up, clap it up. All right, once again, it's One West News Desk. This is our news station today. All right, brought to you by Captain Saparia and Officer Mathum. I am Officer Mathum holding it down for Captain Saparia today. All right, what do we have today? Hey, today is Memorial Day. Today's Memorial Day. Well, what is Memorial Day? Memorial Day is a day that America recognizes the people that fought in all the wars in America. This is a day for recognition for those who fought, in the Civil War, World War I, World War II, all the little skirmishes and Afghan wars and Iraqi wars and different things like that. You understand? These are this day is the day that those people are supposed to be recognized. But for some reason, it's hard for me to understand how you're a so-called Black, Hispanic, or Native. How could you celebrate a day like this? How can we celebrate a day like this? I mean, all of the wars we fought, and we fought in every war that America had. Every war that America had, we fought in every war. And every nation received something for fighting in those wars. We fought in every one of those wars. We fought in so many wars. Coming home from World War I, our brothers were unalived, getting off of buses, coming home to their family, believing that they were going to come home to a hero's welcome. Same thing with World War II. We get no recognition for fighting in these wars. And the thing about it is, we go out, we represent America to the fullest. We believe we are Americans. We believe we are Americans. Think about this, right? A few weeks ago, they began removing all of the history of Blacks and Hispanics from so-called American history. Can you believe that? I can. This is what America does. America respects no one but America. Our oppressor respects no one but himself. For a Hispanic, for a Black man, for a First Nation person to be out celebrating Memorial Day on a day like this, or a day like this, or an unholy holiday like this is unacceptable. Now, we should be celebrating our brothers and sisters that stand and fight for us. The people who stand and represent us. We should be celebrating the people who went up and came up against the oppression that America placed on us ever since we've been here. I'm not saying that we shouldn't respect the brothers and sisters that died fighting for this country. I'm not saying that. But to celebrate a Memorial Day, to celebrate a holiday of our oppressor is unacceptable. We should celebrate our brothers and sisters who stood up and fought for us and fought against the oppression every day. It should be an everyday fight. To sit out there and grill hot dogs and hamburgers and get drunk and eat crabs and shrimp and lobster and all of that type of stuff, celebrating the day that basically we're being erased from. There's going to be a time where no Negroes are going to be represented in the history of Memorial Day. There's going to be a time where no Negroes, no Hispanics, Blacks, Hispanics, or Natives are going to be represented in any of the wars that happened in America. America is whitewashing history as we speak. We're actually living in history right now. Every day that we speak, every day that we live is a part of growing history. Listen, they were removing items from museums. The black what's that museum in D.C.? The Black History Museum in D.C. They removing things from the archive. They removing the head spaces of the blacks who are in Arlington Cemetery. People who fought and died for this country. I'm not saying not to respect the people who died and fought for this country, but we should stand up and represent the people who fought against the oppression of this country. That's what I'm saying. To stand and celebrate God Bless America, to celebrate the Star Spangled Banner, to celebrate the Pledge of Allegiance. Basically, that's what we're doing. We're pledging our allegiance to a country who is whitewashing us from the history books. How could you celebrate a country like that? Memorial Day. You out there celebrating, eating hot dogs and hamburgers and different things like that, celebrating the party and things like that, and you're being erased from history. Trump is erasing us from history. Let's not even say a Trump. I'm not even going to say Trump. I'm going to say America. America is erasing us from history because it's not only Trump's doing. Every person that sits up in Congress, every person that sits up in the House, every person that sits up in the Senate, remember, it's black faces up in there too. I didn't see any black faces speaking up against it. I didn't see any black faces speaking up against it. Imagine that. How can you be black and Hispanic and sit up in America's government and not fight or speak up against the atrocity that's happening? You have brothers and sisters who had no choice at that time, and I can understand that. They felt like they were going out and doing something that was going to make it better for us. Unfortunately, it didn't happen the way that they hoped it would happen. And just like I said before, we're not putting down the people, our brothers and sisters that died in any of those wars. Not by far. We are not putting down any of our brothers and sisters that died in those wars. But we got to start thinking about the holidays that we celebrate. Memorial Day was a day started. It was actually Decoration Day. Started right after the Civil War, and it was a day that was supposed to be recognized by the Southern states for the people who died for the Southern states. That's how it actually started. A few years after that, it included all of the states, but it actually was a day started to commemorate the fallen soldiers in the South. Yeah. True. Then they made it all the states because they wanted everybody to be included. Just like when they brought us to America and they talked about inclusion, they wanted to be one big melting pot right after the emancipation. Think about it, right? Even with the emancipation at the Civil War, that this holiday was actually started behind. After that Civil War was about keeping the Union together, keeping the states together, keeping America one country and not breaking off and becoming two different countries. There have been North America and South America. Right here in this part. It wasn't about freeing slaves. It was about breaking the South and breaking the economic power that the South had. During slavery, the South became a powerful part of the country because of slavery, because of the cotton, the tobacco industries, and things like that. The South the South was poor before that. And then slavery helped the South become what it is today. If you're celebrating Memorial Day, you should be ashamed. And really, I'm not going to say you should be ashamed. You should understand the thing that you're celebrating. Now, if you come to understand what you're celebrating and then continue to celebrate it, then you should be ashamed. They're whitewashing us away from history right now. We out there celebrating, partying, doing everything under the sun as our oppressor does. America's a wicked nation. Should never be celebrated in any way. Think about it, right? The very people that makes America go, they are actually erasing from history. We are looking at the downfall of America right now. This is the downfall of America. What's happening right now is the downfall of America. Let's get into some more articles. Let's get into an article. Let me find the article. You celebrating this unholy holiday? You need to sit down and really figure out what this holiday is about. Like I said, they're whitewashing us right out of history right now. It's supposed to be about the people who fought and died for this country, but slowly they're erasing us right out of history. All of the good things that the brothers and sisters did. Erasing the history of the Tuskegee Airmen. Erasing the brothers right out of the Arlington Cemetery. No more history. Everything is going to be oppressor this and oppressor that. When everybody knows that America runs on the slaves of America. Who are the slaves of America? Look at the people who are being oppressed. That's who the slaves of America are. So-called blacks. Filling up the prison system. Hispanics filling up the prison system. Got the Hispanics in cages on the border. 1,500 Hispanic children still missing. We don't know. As soon as one little oppressor child goes missing, they shut the whole country down. Amber Alert. That's an oppressor's alert. They got the natives up there in reservations. People come in on those reservations and can do anything they want to the natives on those reservations. The government allows them, other people, to come in and do what they want. Sisters are missing off of those reservations. Can't imagine. Sisters missing on reservations. We got sisters, we got 20 or 30,000 sisters missing just with us. Our brothers and sisters. The last that I heard, it was like 20 or 30,000 in DC alone. Young girls to young women to old women. Think about the things that we celebrate. Think about everything that we celebrate. Memorial Day. You celebrate Memorial Day and they wiping you right out of history. You're out there partying with the oppressor, and the whole time the oppressor's partying and wiping your history right out of the books. So actually, you're celebrating the oppressor's accomplishments in accomplishing erasing us right out of history. That's what we celebrate. How can we celebrate something like that? It's just like all of his holidays. All of his holidays are lies. You look at every holiday that they celebrate, it's always pinned up with a lie. Thanksgiving. Native Americans and the Pilgrims got together. They got through a winter. All of a sudden, they celebrated by having a big feast together, and that's the way the story ends. But that's the furthest thing from the truth. America destroyed the Native American Indian. The Americans raped, robbed, and pillaged the Native Americans, destroyed their very souls, put them on reservations, put them in boarding schools, put the children in boarding schools, beat their language out of them so that they could not remember the language that they spoke. They had a brother on TV that was about 65 or 70 years old crying because the only word he could remember in his native language was his name. They beat everything else out of him. It's the same thing they did with us. They beat our native language out of us, made us understand and speak in their tongue. And that's our way of communication today. A devil's tongue. Can you imagine that? Celebrating the very people that destroyed you. That's what's happening. That's what's happening when you celebrate Memorial Day. That's what's happening when you celebrate Thanksgiving. That's what happens when you celebrate Christmas, Labor Day, all of that. Especially Labor Day. You celebrate Labor Day. Think about celebrating Labor Day. You're celebrating the day that they decided to put together rules and regulations and laws to beat you out of your work and make you poor so that they could get jobs. Then you had to be in a labor union to get a job. And in order to be in a labor union to get a job, you had to be white. All white labor unions. There was no way to get a job. So it was the only thing was left to us was criminality. Or you starved. Or you hired yourself out as a slave all over again. On to the next one. Let's get another article. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, think about this too, right? Today's Labor Day. This is local news. This is local news now. Local news. Had an issue with a sister on Labor Day beating up a brother in the middle of the street. The sister pulls up into her car and runs into some people's fence. She runs into the people's fence. The people come out and say something to her, and she begins to clamor and yell and scream and threaten the people. In threatening the people, it comes to my realization that this sister got children in the car. She pulls out a baby out of the car that could only be about 4 or 5 months old. Another child is in the car that was no more than 3 or 4 years old. The baby in the car, the 3 or 4 year old, begins to cry, and the mother tells her, "Shut the F up." This is what we're breeding. This is what the holiday brings. The sister proceeds over to a brother, gets in the brother's face, and smacks the brother. I calmed the brother down and told him it's not worth it. All you need to do is just leave, walk away and leave. Because by that time, the people were calling the police. Police come, the brother's already gone. The police come, and the girl and a girlfriend that she called begin to zap out on the people whose fence they ran into. All in all, the girl was almost belligerent, but the police allowed her to walk away and leave. After all of that commotion that she created. And this is what we talk about when we talk about when you have an evil woman and you mix it with the oppressor's holiday. This is what happened. This is why these things happen on these days, because we're celebrating things that we should not be celebrating. But that's local news. That's out of the way. That's Baltimore news. That's North. I ain't gonna say Northeast. That's North. Yeah, Northeast Baltimore news. Northeast Baltimore news. That's a piece of news. All right. Let's moving on. Let's grab an article out of here. See what we got. Okay. Let me see. Now I'm gonna hold that one. Let's grab this one right here. This is the article. This is from this article. So this is local news too. This article is from Northwest Baltimore. Northwest Baltimore. And I'm going to read this article. This is Fox 45 news article. A rabbi assaulted by masked individuals in North Baltimore parking lot. A local rabbi says he was violently attacked Saturday night behind his condo building in North Baltimore, in the back parking lot of the Park Towers West condominiums. 2 masked individuals reportedly ambushed Rabbi Emmanuel Goldsfees around 11 p.m. on May 24th. They just came up and punched him in the face, said Baltimore City Councilman Yitzi Scheffler. Now, before I go any further, let me give you some background on this right here. This is an area I lived in maybe about 10 years ago. This is a sold down area, meaning this is a small hats area. They police their own community. They have cameras everywhere. When ambulances, when fire engines or anything, police come through this part of town, they have to turn their sirens off. They can only use their lights. This is a whole Jewish community. I just happened to live on the edge of that community where I was inside of that community. I saw their cars going around policing their neighborhoods. This tower that they lived in was 3 blocks from me. Cameras everywhere. So now I'm going to go back and I'm going to read it again, because to me, I don't understand how this happened in the way that it happened and these individuals got away and hadn't been caught yet. The local rabbi says he was violently attacked Saturday night behind a condo building in North Baltimore. Sounds suspect to me. In the back parking lot of the Park Tower West condominiums, two masked individuals reportedly ambushed Rabbi Emmanuel Goldfees around 11 p.m. on May 24th. They just came up and punched him in the face, said Baltimore City Councilman Yitzi Scheffler. This is another small hat. They police their own community, and they have their own councilman for their own community. This is how they get things done in their community. This is the reason why they prosper so well. This is the thing that we can't do as people when we have our people as congressmen and councilmen and things like that. Why can't we do this? But let's get back to the article. It says Scheffler was notified of the alleged attack in his district and helped coordinate a large police response. He says the suspect knocked the 62-year-old to the ground and began striking him until the rabbi pulled out a gun. Now, he pulled out a gun. Now, let me finish. Hold up. Let me finish. Then they started running off. He started going to his car, and then they approached him by his car as well, as said Scheffler. He pulled the gun. They ran off. Then they came back at him at his car again. Me personally, I know that if one of them pull a gun on you, they are allowed to fire on you with no consequences. I understand this neighborhood because I know this neighborhood because I lived in this neighborhood. These people have no rules to live by in this area. The laws pertain to everyone who is not them in this neighborhood. I know this neighborhood very well. He pulled out a gun and didn't shoot. Listen, I don't know. I'm just asking, did he know him? Was he buying something from him? I don't know. I'm just asking because it's kind of suspect to me that you would pull a gun on them, they would run off and then come back to you and you have a gun. Now, I'm not a detective. I've never done police work, but I've been in the streets and I just never seen that happen before. But who am I? Anyway, according to Baltimore City Police, the victim had a valid handgun permit, and the suspects are potentially juveniles. We've seen them unalive juveniles before. This is nothing new. To unalive a juvenile, what is that to them? Shalom, Lord Christ, Matabar. Who are, let's think about it, right? What do they have to lose? Nothing to lose. It says one of the suspects attempted to start the victim's vehicle, but was unsuccessful. So they knock you to the ground, you pulled out a gun, they run off, you go to your car, then they come back to your car. You still got the gun. How did the victim get into your car to be able to try to start your car? Listen, this story sounds suspect to me. Sounds real suspect. Listen, the only time I've seen this happen, right, is when people doing drug transaction and stuff don't go right and you don't give up what you supposed to be giving up. That's when people start trying to take your vehicle and take your car and all of that. You understand? So, and then they not caught by now. If this happened Saturday, Sunday, they not caught by now because listen, the Jewish community acts fast. They waste no time in apprehending suspects, you understand, of crimes in their part of town, which That's their part of town. Once you go across Northern Parkway into the Pikesville area, that's the whole Jewish community going all the way up to I want to say Garrisonville, almost into the Owings Mills area. Everything all the way back. They got houses, condos, they got mosques back, or not mosques, but what do they call them? What's those things they go to? Synagogues. They got synagogues back there. They got synagogues with parking lots for strollers, not cars, but strollers. Huge parking lots. You see strollers double, triple parked and everything in there like they cars. This is their community. It's called cross country. Right out there behind, when you go up, you coming up Park Heights, as soon as you cross Northern Parkway, all of that area back is their area. It's controlled by them. They police their own area. They got police cars with the Jewish, the Jewish words on the side of the car and everything like that. You see them coming through at night with their highlights, with their lights on the side of their car, beaming, checking everything like that. This right here just seems too suspect for me. You got a valid handgun permit, and the suspects are potentially juveniles. That's 2 checks against them. Then the 3rd check is being in the wrong area at the wrong time. 4th check is them knocking them to the ground. Up. Let's finish reading this. It says one of the suspects attempted to start the victim's vehicle but was unsuccessful. As the suspects tried to assault him again, the victim drew his firearm and pointed it at them. The suspects then fled the scene on foot, said the Baltimore Police Department spokesperson. Scheffler says the incident is being investigated as an attempted carjacking at a time car crimes are seemingly becoming more common in the area. About 2 months ago, police radio traffic suggests several car break-ins were reported in the same parking lot. Reported in the same parking lot? And you mean no cameras? Listen, somebody got to show me that report, because I've never seen anything happen in that Jewish community and happen over and over and over again. It happens one time and that's it. They got cameras everywhere. You can't tell me that somebody came up in there and basically assaulted him on 3 different occasions. He got a gun with a permit. This is a so-called Jewish man. He didn't use it. Because he, believe you me, he has permission to use it. I lived in that area for several years. I know how it goes. They run everything in that whole community. They tell the police when they are needed and when they are not needed. They have their own ambulance service. As a matter of fact, the tower that this happened at, most of the time got 2 ambulances sitting right out front of the tower. Right out front of the condo building sits 2 ambulances. Yeah. I mean, listen, who am I though? Like, I'm just reading the article. Says the suspects had light-colored jeans and a hoodie. Also a mask, breaking into vehicles at the location in the rear, said a dispatcher. Sunday night, just a few miles away, someone attempted to steal his vehicle and damage the driver's side lock. said another dispatcher. Wait a minute. Let me read that again. Because it sounded like they just said somebody tried to break into his vehicle again. Let's reverse this. Let me read this again. I'm going to go back up. Scheffler says the incident is being investigated as an attempted carjacking at a time car crimes are seemingly becoming more common in the area. About 2 months ago, police radio traffic suggests several car break-ins were reported in the same parking lot. A light-colored jeans and a hoodie, also a mask breaking into vehicles at the location in the rear, said a dispatcher. And Sunday night, just a few miles away, someone attempted to steal his vehicle and damage the driver's side lock, said another dispatcher. Furthermore, last November, Fox 45 reported on a string of carjackings targeting elderly residents nearby. And this just don't, listen, I know how these people protect their community. I don't know if they are trying to paint a picture to make something else happen. I don't know. But this just seems suspect to me, especially a person who lived in that area for a couple of years. Listen, I lived in that area long enough to be comfortable with my vehicle being there. I don't know. Somebody tell me. People need to go through that. If you ever in Baltimore and you get a chance, you go up into Pikesville, right across on the other side of Northern Parkway. Just look at that community and watch how those people watch you, and watch the cars that go through that community, and watch the private policing that they do themselves up there. Police don't police up there. You see police going through because there's a district that comes up and they stop right there at the Northern Parkway line. Police turn around and come back. You got the county police that don't even come down. I'm just reporting what I know. This says, I saw a lady laying in the middle of the parking lot and she had blood all on her and she was laid out. Her shoes were off, her glasses were off, and I thought she was dead, said a witness. What we're seeing is the carjackings are up over 20% this month over the same as last time last year. And it's very troubling to see the numbers really skyrocketing, said Scheffler. Another troubling trend, a rise in anti-Semitism attacks happening across the country. Listen, this is the only thing that this is doing is giving them, okay, you know what? Giving them an open way to say anti-Semitism. Everything is anti-Semitism. Okay. Anti-Semitism attacks happening across the country, although it's unclear what the motive behind this incident was. Scheffler says it's left the Jewish community on edge. Now, think about this, right? They just now said this lady was laid out, laying in the middle of the parking lot, and she had blood all over her and was laid out. Her shoes was off, her glasses was off, and I thought she was dead, said a witness. Now, they never said what happened or how she got in that state. But when you start saying carjacking and people with hoodies on and things like that, and then all of a sudden you throw something in there, it makes your mind believe that, along the carjackers are also knocking out old ladies, leaving them laid out with no shoes on. It's kind of almost like suggestive reasoning. You say a whole bunch of stuff right here, then you say something that's not even related, but all of a sudden your mind makes it seem like this is related to that when And even in the part that they said, they never said how she got there or what she said happened. Suggesting that maybe something happened. Maybe it's related to what's been happening in our community. But me personally, I don't want to say it loud, but I think it was a drug deal gone bad. That's me. That's what it sounded like to me. Now, I wasn't there, but looking at all the evidence, you pulled a gun out twice, didn't use it, you tried to get your car, something doesn't sound right to me. Somebody tell me, what do you think? Somebody tell me, what do you think happened? You know, after all of the, we're looking at the evidence. I see some stuff stuck in there, you know, sounding kind of sketchy to me, you know. It's like when they found the coke in the White House, you know. How did that get there? We don't know. You got a son upstairs getting high. Nobody knows how it got there, you know. Sometimes things just take it just takes simple reasoning. Let's put two and two together. You understand what I'm saying? You put some things together. See, listen, that's the thing about blacks, Hispanics, and natives, right? We've been through so much that we have the ability to put things together and come out with reasonable suggestions of what may have happened. They play us like we haven't been through a lot of stuff or we don't know. You understand? Because these are simple people that we're dealing with. Our oppressor is a simple person. He has the mind of a child. Has the mind of a child. Moving on. Let's go on to the next article. That's Northwest Baltimore. When you get a chance, visit it. All right. Let's go to Trump. Let's see what Trump talking about. It says U.S. Let me read the top of the article. Okay to India. Okay to go to India, but you're not going to sell in U.S. without tariffs. U.S. President Trump to Apple. This is what he's saying to Apple company. U.S. President Donald Trump has said it's okay for Apple to go to India to build its plants, but then the tech company will not be able to sell its products in America without tariffs. Of course, Mr. Trump's remarks came as he signed multiple executive orders in the Oval Office to boost the U.S. nuclear power. You understand? Let's see here. Who's that? Oh, that's Madabar. Madabar's rib is in the house too. What's going on, sis? Nazamana. I hope I said that right. Nazamana. Princess Nazamana. All right. Welcome, sister. Welcome. All right, let's read this article right here. It says Mr. Trump's remark came as he signed multiple executive orders in the Oval Office to boost the U.S. nuclear power. But I had an understanding with Tim Cook that he wouldn't be doing this. He said he's going to India to build plants. I said, that's okay to go to India, but you're not going to sell into here without tariffs. And that's the way it is. Mr. Trump said on Friday, May 23rd, 2025. We're talking about the iPhone. If they're going to sell it in America, I want it to be built in the United States, he said. Now, the thing is, right, it takes a lot of money to start building industries in America. When you or America as a country, its politicians, political politicians, begin to shuffle everything out of America, shuffle all of the industries out of America. After 30 or 40 years of not having big industries in America, it's hard to get the people with the qualifications to build certain things in America again as it was 30 or 40 or 50 years ago. Now, as far as the iPhone is a technical thing. You need people with the technical prowess to build the different parts of the iPhone. Just like they said, even the glass of the iPhone is a special glass that's just not easily made in America. That's why a lot of these parts of these iPhones come from different countries. Most of it comes from China. So if most of it comes from China, that means the artisans or the professional builders of these iPhones and different phone parts are in China. That means they are the Chinese people. That means I can go there and get the phones built, and not only get them built, but get them built cheaply. They come back and sell them for a while. So if I can go and get an iPhone built somewhere cheaply and come back and sell it for a while, why wouldn't I? Especially when we don't have the people here with the skill set to do what they do in China or what they do in Vietnam or what they do in Taiwan. Because we all know that's where most of the more powerful chips that goes into our iPhones, that goes into our computers, that goes into our cars, that's where most of those come from. Because they have the technical know-how how to build these things. We shifted away from all of that. We shifted away from the industry side and we shifted into capitalism. And capitalism is only investing in different businesses, investing in overseas businesses so that big businesses and big corporations could benefit off of cheap labor. And trying to move those companies back here, it's going to cost an arm and a leg. Not only that, now you have to train people how to do that. And the technical know-how in training people to do that is going to take at least 10 years. So you can't build a business like that overnight. That's why the best electrical cars are built in China right now and overseas. We keep looking at Tesla and Elon Musk like this is the best thing, but it's not the best thing. They said the quality and the quality of those electric cars in China are far superior than the Teslas built by Elon Musk. So in order to get the technical know-how, you have to train people. You have to train people up to do that. But here in America, we are only trained to be what? We are trained to be managers of businesses, not technical electricians. You understand? Not to be able to build, iPhones, not be able to build small mini microphones and different things like that. These are the things that they're doing in China, in Vietnam, in Taiwan, and different places like that. That's why companies go to these countries to do it. And now what America's trying to do is bring these industries back, but you can't do it like that. It can't be done. It won't be done. This is why this tariff war is happening. And at the end of the day, what's going to happen is World War III. We're already in it already. Hey, listen, the Bible tells us a house divided against itself cannot stand. America is shooting itself in the foot as we speak. If you notice, I didn't say we are shooting itself. We are shooting ourselves in the foot. I said America is shooting itself in the foot as we speak. We're just here waiting for the downfall. Because when one When one empire falls, another one rises. We have to come back to these laws, statutes, and commandments, and we have to rise, and we have to be that empire on the rise. Where do you find that at? You find that right here in the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge under Commanding General Yohanan. And with that, this is the One West News Desk. I'm going to shut it down. I got to get ready for my class. We coming back with history class. So I got to shut all of this down and get myself ready for the history class. And we just give me about 10 or 15 minutes. I'm going to have it all together because I got to set my stuff up. But we're going to be back. All right. With that, Shalom Israel. Let's shut it down. Oops. Keep forgetting it's not a touch screen, huh?